when you divide by 2, that does not give you 4. That is not correct. What about question 5? Nope, that's also wrong. 7.9, how did you get that? Definitely wrong. Try harder. I'm afraid I'm gonna have to give Jacob an F. Oh. Hey, are you alright? Sure, come on in, or are you doing okay? No? Oh, what's up? Don't mind me, by the way, just marking my other class's test. You know, classic Jacob. I'll pop this aside. What's the problem? What seems to be going on? I see. You're having a bit of difficulty and a bit of anxiety about the upcoming exam. Not to worry, don't forget, these are just mock exams, so not to worry, they're going to be not real exams at the end of the day, and it's just for us to test your ability on how you're getting on in class at the moment. Sure. No, that's no problem. I mean, school literally just finished, and I've got a lot of marking to go through. In fact, I'd actually love to take a little bit of a break if you want to do a little bit of extra study revision for the mock exam. I mean, if this is okay with you, if your mom is okay with you staying back for a little bit. In fact, this was her idea. Oh, I do actually remember her saying at parents' evening she wanted you to do a little bit of extra study, didn't she? Well, no, that's completely fine. Make yourself at home, ironically, and take a seat, and we'll get into a little bit of extra study, a little bit of extra tutoring, if that's alright. It's free, it's on the house. But, yeah, so is there anything in particular for the mock exam that's kind of got you feeling a little bit stressed, a little bit nervous? Oh, classic Pythagoras. I know sometimes it can be just a little bit confusing to wrap your head around. In fact, funny story about Pythagoras. When I learned about it in high school, when I was about to learn about it, I was sick. I was ill the day we did it, and I had to come in and catch back up on my own, and well, I struggled a bit, and I did not understand it at all, but thankfully now, having taught it several times, I know it like the back of my hand. Yeah, everything else you're okay with. Well, I mean, there's no reason to be stressed. No reason to be anxious at all if you're feeling fine on all the other subjects. I mean, I know it is a trick test, but it's okay, you know, just chill out, relax. Everything's gonna be okay, and, well, I know you, and don't tell anyone, but you're very smart, definitely top of the class. So, I wouldn't think there's anything for you to worry about. In fact, I was chatting to Mrs. Stevens, and she was saying that your levels in every other subjects are really, really good. So, I see. Math is something very important. No, I completely understand personally. Personally, I completely understand, so not to worry, you know. Let's just get started, shall we? So, did you have maths today? I know I'm not usually your teacher, but did you have maths? You did? Ah, okay. Who was that with? Oh, Mr. Donald. Oh God, he cracks me up. He's something. He's a character. Put it that way. Is there a particular way he taught you Pythagoras? Is there anything you can kind of remember, or is there anything in particular you want to just go over today? Sure, just some examples. We can go over some examples, and I think, it would be good to probably start off with the basics. Go over what you already know. Personally, I do a little bit of tutoring in my spare time, and personally from that, I've learned it's good to build off of what you already know, then move on to maybe why we get these kind of, equations and facts, if you will. A lot of maths to you might just seem like facts. Like if someone says 3 squared is 9, that's just a fact. But why, things like that. So, sure. That's okay, no problem. Well, if you want to get out your pencil case, anything, some paper, remember we've got rulers just over there in the back, and spare calculators as well, but I've always got mine right beside me, right beside my desk. In that case, I will get my little whiteboard, my little portable whiteboard that I have, and we'll just go through some basic things, shall we? Yeah, honestly, this shouldn't take too much of your time. I'll explain things in 5 or 10 minutes, go over a few questions, and you can head on home, do whatever it is kids nowadays do, Fortnite and Netflix or whatever it is you get up to. Alright, let me grab my whiteboard. Okay, so I hope it's okay that I use this, right? Usually we use the chalkboard up in the back. But I like using this portable whiteboard. It lets me use all my different colored pens, which I bought and then got to class and realized we had a chalkboard. Yeah, that wasn't that great. Anyways, let's get into it. I'll nudge over a little bit. Okay, so Pythagoras. You probably don't even know who Pythagoras is, but he was a mathematician and very, very useful in the field of trigonometry, in mathematics in particular, helping us achieve many, many things to do with what shape in particular? Triangles, exactly. So let's draw. I don't have a ruler here. Remember, when you show up to the exam, what 3 things have you got to remember to bring? Pencils, rulers, and a calculator. Exactly. So I apologize, I'm not using a ruler here, but we have a triangle. Now, this is not just any old triangle. What do we call this triangle, do you know? Exactly. Right-angled, or a right triangle. But why do we call it a right triangle? Yeah, well, there are 180 degrees in a triangle, which is 2 times 90, but which angle makes this a right triangle? This one down here, exactly. Usually we draw this with a little square, just like so, whenever you see them in the mock exam. In fact, don't tell anybody I told you this, but if you see a triangle in the exam, it will have the square in the corner to let you know. But this little square means it's right angled. Okay, now what do we call these sides of the triangle? Well, we have different names for them, but it kind of depends how you label it. Everyone labels them slightly differently. I'm going to take a few different colors here. Let's take this blue pen, and let's put, you choose a letter. A. Fair enough. First letter of the alphabet. Let's put an A right at the bottom. Let's get a red pen. Red. And because we went for A, let's go for B this time. B. And do you want to choose one more letter for me? C, okay. I had a feeling you'd choose that. So what I've done is I have labeled every side of this triangle A, B, and C. Now I'm going to move over a bit. We have different names for each of these sides. A and B are either called the opposite or adjacent sides, and this is in accordance with the right angle. And do you know what we call C? It's a very important word. It begins with an H. The hypotenuse, exactly. Well, we can make a little correlation between A, B, and C. And if you were paying attention in Mr. Donald's class, I know sometimes he can be a little bit tricky to pay attention to. But can you remember what equation links all of these? Yeah. Exactly. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Now, I think it pretty much goes without saying that this probably makes no sense to you why that works. It just does, and you can try it with your ruler. You can draw out this triangle, measure it, and put it in, and then measure it with your ruler, and it will work. Genuinely, it will work. And it also goes without saying that you could rearrange this, you know, from your algebra class. Could you tell me what B squared would be? Yup. C squared minus A squared. Very good. Very good. But why? Why is it we have these? Well, let me show you something pretty cool. This is one of my favorite proofs in maths. Let's take this same triangle. And we'll label our sides again. What did we have? We had A, B, and C. And if we take this triangle and we draw it in a very special way 4 times, we can make this very interesting shape. Let me show you. Now that's a very big square, I know, but take a look at this. Okay, now I've drawn this pretty poorly, but imagine that's a square inside another square. It looks awful, I know. Let's take a look at these 4 triangles that we have drawn around this square. So, all of them are right angled, correct? Now I'll budge over to do this next stage, because this next stage is where I'm going to blow your mind. Let's take our blue pen. We can label each of these parts of the triangle's sides. If we take this triangle up here, we can see that this side here is A. We can see that this side up here is B. And we can see the hypotenuse is C. I hope you can see how that works. So what we can do now is look at all the other triangles and just pretend they're the same for this terrible drawing. I'll fill them out for us. And last but not least, okay. So I finished drawing this out, and as you can see, we have a square inside a square with all the interior sides of the square making C. Oops. That was left-handed, by the way. And each of the triangles being the same as this triangle up here. Well, we can then do a little fact about this big square. Let's take a look at the area of this giant square that we have drawn. Now, what's the area of a square? Yup, base times height, or, the length squared. Now, what is the length in this case? Well, it's B plus A on every single side. B plus A, B plus A. So the area of the big square is A plus B squared. However, we could also, that's one way of doing it, we could also say that the area is the area of all the triangles plus the area of this middle square. So how can we do that? Well, what's the area of a triangle? A half base times height. So a half, and what's the base? A, and the height? B. But we have 4 of them, so times 4 plus the area of the inner square, which is, I know it's not really a square, but C squared exactly. So if we rearrange this, we get 2AB plus C squared. this is also the area as well as that. If we equate these areas together, equate them because they're the same thing, right? We would simply say a plus b squared is equal to 2ab plus c squared, correct? Are you with me? Good, good. Just wanted to make sure you're not falling behind or anything. And last but not least, let's expand this bracket. Now I want you to do this for me, so I'll give you a little moment to expand a plus b squared. Are you getting on? Have you done it? Nice. What did you get? Yep. Great. A squared plus 2ab plus b squared. And that is equal to 2ab plus c squared. And all that's left for us to do is cancel out the 2ab's. So we subtract them from both sides and we get our infamous equation: a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. It's crazy, isn't it? It's really cool how that works, and that has got to be one of my favorite proofs that there are out there. I know that was probably a lot to take in, but it's so cool how that visually works. And does that make sense? Yeah, I know they don't teach you that in class. They kind of just tell you it's a fact and you have to remember a squared plus b squared equals c squared, but that's pretty easy to remember, right? As long as you can remember that, you're fine. But I hope that's kind of made sense now as to why, that equation comes about. And again, it's all thanks to Mr. Pythagoras. So with that out the way, I'll put my pens back in their caps. Don't want them to dry out. By the way, do you know what a Pythagorean triple is yet? Have you learned about that? Oh, you have? Okay, I was gonna say, hopefully Mr. Donald has taught you it, because it will be coming up in the mock exam, I'll tell you that. Pythagorean triples are just some of the triangles that, fit those equations, fit that equation, and are really, really nice and easy to remember. There's a very important one, 3, 4, and 5. That's probably, the most satisfying one there is. 3, 4, 5. Would you like to do any examples then to kind of see you off, if you will, and I'll let you maybe do a couple here. We'll go over some, and then you can take some examples away with you. Sure. In that case, bear with me just a sec. Alrighty, so let's do a little example then. On my little notepad here. Or, what do you call this again? Like a clipboard, that's the word. I don't use my clipboard too much. In fact, I'd really do prefer using the chalkboard or the whiteboard, so you'll have to apologize, or I'll have to apologize in advance about my handwriting, what it may become, classic math teacher. But anyways, let's do a little example. I'll draw a triangle out and then we'll see if you can have a good go at it. Alrighty. let's go for... Okay, so here we have a little triangle, and you're exactly right. I should draw in my little right angle symbol. So this is a triangle with sides 6 and 8. Now you don't have to draw out the big proof thing to work it out. Just try and use the formula, and I'll give you a go at trying to do that triangle there, so you can draw it out, measure it, or use the formula, but I'd recommend using the formula. It's much easier. In the meantime, I'm going to quickly send an email if that's okay. What's Jacob's mum's name again? Oh yes. Jacob needs help. Friday. Oh, you're already done. Okay, that was a lot faster than I thought you'd be. Would you like to talk me through it? Okay, great, because it's very important that you understand it, and of course, make sure you show all your working when you do this. So let's give it a go. What's the first line of working you did? You wrote the formula. Okay, what was that? Yep. Great. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. What was the next thing you did? Substituted in the values. I love that word. Substitute. I won't lie, I hate being a substitute teacher sometimes. So, what did you substitute in? A is 6 and B is 8, okay. And then what did you do next? You worked out the squares, very good. So what's 6 squared? 36, very good. And what's 8 squared? 64. And then the last step, what's left to do? Well, before we do the square root, we can make this a bit simpler. Did you do this on your calculator? See, for this one here, you actually might not need to use your calculator. What's 36 plus 64? 100. So if 100 equals C squared, what does C equal? The square root of 100, yep. We're getting there. What's the square root of 100? 10, exactly. So for this one here, you didn't necessarily need to use your calculator because, what do we call this again? A Pythagorean triple. So as well as 3, 4, 5, we have some other juicy ones like 6, 8, and 10. Just some very important ones that you may have to remember. Let's do another question here. I'm going to really test you on this one. Okay, here's another triangle. want to go? Sure, I'll give you a little moment to do it. In the meantime, I'm just going to get my calculator. Because believe me when I say we're going to need it now. Okay, yeah. That's looking good. That's looking good. Okay, well, I tell you what, we'll just run through it then, shall we? So again, what did you do to start? The formula. Nice, good, good. So you rearranged the formula. What did you rearrange it to? Yep. Oops. Very good. Sorry, I just wrote that down wrong. Ignore that. And when you substitute in the values, what do you get? Great, very good. And then what's the squares of these numbers? 121, good. And 49. Now what's 121 minus 49? 72. Equals b squared. No. This time we don't know the square root of 72. So what did you do here? Use our calculator. Great, let's give that a go. So, square root of 72 equals 6 root 2 or 8.485 to 81374. We'll just round this. What did you round it to? Just 8. You could do that. I guess in math it's good to be a bit more specific. So if it were me, I'd round it to 8.5. So great. So that was a couple of good examples there. I tell you what, I'll leave you with a little worksheet to take home with you, which I'll give to you on your way out on Pythagoras. But other than that, how are you feeling after today? Are you feeling a little bit better? You are? That's great. As I said, you know, when you came in and sat down, there's literally nothing to worry about. You are super smart. You are, I won't say this again, but not going to struggle in this exam. Remember, it's just a mock exam. It doesn't decide anything at the end of the day. And there's only actually one Pythagoras question in there, and it might be to do with Pythagorean triples, so I will say no more before it gets me in trouble. But from the work you've done today, you definitely will be completely fine with this mock exam come later this year. Yeah. Well, you know, I'll let you go and catch your bus now. I will get back to Jacob, and hopefully everything goes well with the rest of your classes for the rest of the week. I'll see you later. Tell Mr. Donald I say hi, by the way. Alright. In a bit.